So I've been hearing a lot, especially today for whatever reason, about this whole deal where the U.S. Olympic team is not wearing uniforms that were made in the U.S. Instead, they're wearing uniforms that were made in China. Actually, on Congress, they came out and talked about this. It's really bizarre. You had people from the Democrats and the Republicans both coming out and agreeing for the first time ever, basically, since Obama's become president. Agreeing on anything, basically to say that the U.S. Olympic team should not, absolutely should not be wearing uniforms that were made in China. Everyone's upset about this. Everyone's pissed off. Here's the thing, though. We don't pay for those uniforms. The U.S. government doesn't give the U.S. Olympic Committee, who's in charge of financing all this kind of thing, any money at all. So what they have to do is they have to go around begging private companies like, please, please, please help us out. Because our athletes, some of them are living in poverty. We desperately need money for them to train. We desperately need money for them to get to whatever country they're going to this year. We desperately need money to buy equipment. We need money for lots of things. And we don't get public support, right, from our government like every other Olympic team in the world. So please help us out. Unsurprisingly, I mean, what is this, really? Unsurprisingly, the donations that they get from companies like Nike or Ralph Lauren come with strings, because they don't just do this out of the goodness of their heart. They want to advertise themselves. So you have to end up with like really ridiculous looking logos. Like, I mean, have you seen the logos? It's not merely that these things are made in China, these uniforms. There's a huge Ralph Lauren logo. It's bigger than the logo that you find on like Ralph Lauren shirts. It's massive. It takes like a third of the breast of the shirt. It's absurd. But this is what they have to wear. They have to wear it because they're begging, right? Because they're begging these private companies, please give us money so our athletes can go do this. And that's the problem. If you're a beggar, then you can't be a chooser. I'm sure you guys have heard that expression. They take whatever's given to them. Ralph Lauren ships all their stuff overseas. They outsource everything. There's a reason for that, because it turns out that in general, people are perfectly cool paying hundreds of dollars for something with a Ralph Lauren tag on it, but they won't pay like $130 to have it made here in the States. Ralph Lauren rather ships it over to like China so they can make more profit and sell it a little bit cheaper, because people, even though they're willing to pay outrageous prices, they don't want to pay a little bit extra so that you can have U.S. workers. But that's a separate issue. That's not really what's an issue here. What's really an issue here are people griping, saying, I'm unhappy about something that someone else did that I was unwilling to do. This group, even though they had other reasons for doing it, even though it's advertising, even though that's why they're doing it, they're not doing it out of the goodness of their heart. But it doesn't matter, because the U.S. government, right, and we the people, we could do the same thing. We could do something similar and have these strings attached to it. If we were the ones giving money, we could dictate what the uniforms look like, but that's not what we did. So we're upset, or the public at large is upset, that someone else came along, donated to what we were unwilling to donate to, and we got pissed off at the way they did it. Like, hey, what I was unwilling to do, you did, but you didn't do it like I wanted you to, and now I'm angry at you. That's the most absurd thing I've ever heard. The real tragedy in all this, of course, is that we don't actually support our Olympians. We don't support our athletes. That's the really awful thing about this. That's what everyone should be upset about. Everyone should not, that should bring attention to this. The real tragedy here is not that some clothes were made in China. Clothes are made in China. Who cares? The real tragedy is that our Olympians, our athletes, those people that are going to go to another country and represent us to the world, those people that we're going to cheer for, that we're going to unite behind as an entire nation, we don't give a crap about them. We don't give them any support whatsoever. That's the tragedy. That's the problem. Screw their clothes.